Yes, the primary enemy, of course, is the person sitting in State House. However, I've looked at it and I've seen that the only thing that is actually keeping Ruto in power right now is police brutality. That is what he's been able to use to quench protests. So I would think that our main focus should be, how do we stop police brutality? Now, Justice Mugambi was very close in helping us reach this place. But he, because of circumstances, and also I would be a little lenient towards him, because we know when, they start coming from for your family and, threats and all that. So not everyone is able to stand up to this. However, we need to make examples out of some of these rogue police. And we really need to figure out, how do we stop the weaponization of the police service? How do we cut this arm from Ruto? Police brutality, how can we end it? If we can get an answer to this, I think that Ruto will be going home very soon. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Maverick, just before you go, this also Honorable Browser raised it, and it has been a question of discussion. Of course, at the NCCPA, we talk about political education and civic education. But who qualifies to do this political education? Does it mean that the members of NCCPA actually has a monopoly of knowledge to go and, and imbue the masses that are totally unaware? Because the NCCPA takes this, clear analysis that the knowledge, the only way to gather knowledge is from lived experiences. And we think that the masses are even more experienced because of their struggles within this unequal system. And to pretend that we are going to the masses not to learn from them, but only to, induct them with our ideas, we think that would be quite hypocritical. That learning is a dialectical process. We should go to the masses with a clear mind that we are going to not just spread our ideas, but also organize them through a process of learning. So when you talk of civic education or political education, I think also it's good for us to understand how this political or civic education is done and how we can learn from the collective experiences of the masses to advance, this alternative agenda.
I totally agree that we must go and learn from the masses that are in the villages, because calling them ignorant is actually an ignorant statement by itself. So we should learn them, and that would help Kenyan, and every sane human being wants to have a better life, to have the Kenya that we all know, seeing the amount of corruption that we have and the amount of resources that are actually disappearing, or not even disappearing, but ending up in individual pockets. We know that all of this money is enough to actually turn Kenya into, let me call it, our Wakanda. It's possible. We have the resources, we have the means. We can do this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Maverick.
Thank you.
Now, there are three things that help this state to stand. One of the most important things President William Ruto has lost is the power of information. And this is the propaganda. Nobody believes the president. Even tomorrow, if he comes out and says, my name is William Samoei Ruto, majority of the Kenyan people will doubt him. So he has lost the most important instrument to run a state, which is the information war. And I agree completely with my comrade Maverick, who has completely said that the only thing retaining President William Samoei is organized violence. That means he has the armed forces and the police to suppress anybody who dares question his dictatorship. These are the people that continue to sustain President William Samoei Ruto. The question was, should we focus on the police or should we focus on the processes that will ensure that President William Samoei Ruto is voted out, or not just voted out, or removed from the office through Article 1 of the Constitution? In our own humble submission is that the processes should go in tandem. The police officers who continue to commit crime, the police officer who continues to order and repress the masses, we must continue to hold them accountable within the court and push them individually and also within the legal framework of this state, at least within the legal framework of 2010 Constitution. So we will not stop at pushing for President William Samoei Ruto, which we know will not resign his removal from the office, but we'll also continue to hold the police persons individually responsible for the atrocities that they are committing against our brothers and sisters. Those people who have actually spoken, feel free to drop off from the discussion panel, because we have so many people on the waiting list, and we want to make sure that at least we pass the mic to as many people as possible, so we benefit from the majority of the ideas. So I will go to Gikonyo and then Dr. Erastus. But those who have spoken, please feel free to drop off to allow us to... Dennis, I'm coming to you. So we can go to Gikonyo. I can see now more hands are up. But just make sure you... So we go to Gikonyo first, and then Dr. Erastus, and then Dennis.
Thank you so much. I hope, Boka, you can hear me clearly.
Yes, my comrade, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So first, I wish to appreciate that I have been given a mic. And number two, I'm happy that I can feel and I can see majority of us are so much agree with the system, but I still don't think we are agree as the way we are supposed to be. I still believe that we are supposed to be more agree than we are. And I hope with these forums and the rest, it will make us more agree that we take actions. Mine is just to appreciate the NCCPA. Is a good idea, and it's good that it has to start somewhere, and it is started at the headquarters, that is Nairobi. And my suggestion is number one that we do devolve them. We do devolve the NCCPA, we devolve its activities up to the grassroots level. Personally, I'm in Nyandarua County, where, as you have seen, if there is a lot of pressure by the system, when the system is given a lot of pressure in Nairobi, it always comes to the ground, to the county Nyandarua or other villages to seek some refuge, ama kuambua pole. That's why they come back to the ground, they decide the people that now, or whatever they can feel or they can see is a Nairobi thing. So if we are able to devolve our activity to the grassroots, I believe we shall have a very strong foundation. And this foundation will be made by when we devolve it to the grassroots level, it means we shall be able to cut the roots of the systems. Remember, the roots of the systems are now the leaders who are there, and the MPs and the rest who are crapping and still making some useless policies to the government. So if we are able to empower the grassroots people, the citizens, the voters in the area, they will be angry. Then that means they will be after the MPs. or the representatives. When you get, they run to they rush and try to push these MPs to the end. It means our CPA will be able now to handle the system, the upper, that is now the president, and the other group which is there. But again, we need to cut these roots by empowering the grounds. And I'm giving an example in my county, all the MPs, what they are doing. But again, we don't have people who are pushing. We don't have people who are taking or against them. In fact, majority of them are celebrating. But why? It's because they don't have the necessary education or the necessary information that they need to be sure that this is not an Nairobi issue. It is a concern which is affecting all of us. We have tried with my mentor, Comrade Modoni Kamau, but still we feel there is a lot that is needed in the ground. Again, when we have this training or we are bringing this spirit to the ground, there is a need for the exchange program. Comrades from different counties visiting other counties, from Nairobi, from Meru, they can come to Nyandarua, they can visit Kirinyaga and update the other people what is happening in their county. And when we try to compare this comparison, we have realized it is bearing some good fruits, because we don't have voters who want to be left aside. Every voter needs some development, but it can only be ignited or it can be pushed to them when they are updated on what's happening in different counties and the rest. So we need to know how we need to change the mentality of these people. In the ground, most of them, as Boka had highlighted, it is true, they know what they want, but again, they have a lot of fear from the system, from the police. These leaders are collected, and the rest. So they try to intimidate the voters from the ground. So if we bring this change again, as we have said, the workshop, the seminars from the ground, it will assist them a lot. Mostly the young people. And why am I talking about the young people? Remember, they are not so much corrupted than like the old. The old have been there in the system since the time of Moi, so they are used to things. But now with the young generation, they are urging for the change. They are looking for this change. They are not corrupted. So if we are able to pick them from there as areas now, I know and I believe they can do a great change. Again, I wish also we replace the civic education with political education. We have done a lot of civic education. People now know how to vote and the rest. But now we need to enlighten them. Who is the best leader allowed to vote? Not how to vote or put in a back. But now we tell them such a leader, we have to vote this one, we have to vote if we have the corrupt leaders, how we should send them away, all those kind of things. So we need to have a very strong political education, which should be done by qualified people. Because most of us, remember, the same people, the corrupt people have a way of turning themselves to be educators as they are looking for different votes and the rest. So I believe, and still I come back to you, to those who are doing training in Nairobi, that's very great. But again, kindly let us see or come up with a way of how we shall devolve them to the ground that every people can benefit. And I have given an example for us in Jalaro, for example. We are very ready to push it. We are looking forward. We are looking for these opportunities where we can be able to push and bring this spirit to more and more people. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Comrade Gikonyo, just before Dr. speaks, first of all, it's good to let you know that we are in consultation with people from Nyandarua County, and please inbox us your details. We've had a group of people from around the JM Karaoke's place, and also we've done some work around the milk cooperative movement there. So if we can join hands together, the idea is to help politicize those issues. And also clearly, we must continue. Let us not forget that tribalism is still a big cancer in our political mobilization. That is the only thing that the political class have. So we hope that we can put more in touch and devolve the People's Assembly in Nyandarua as soon as possible. There's a group of people that are already organizing there, and we hope that we can put you through. So I've seen Fakruto is up, Western is up here. So I will. Gikona, did you want to say one last thing before Dr. Erasto speaks? Okay. Maybe. Then we go to Erastus, then Dennis, and then Bondo, and then yeah, like that. So Dennis, it's coming. Don't you worry. Okay, fine, good. Erastus, please.
Well, good evening. My 1 point or 3 points I have to put across the team is that I've taken time to study about the Kenyan politics, and we don't want to repeat what was done in 1992 when Ford came in and we had also Ford Kenya. People got divided. What we should do is look for these people who have already taken the ground. We have the likes of people who are having influence, and you can see there are young generation. The people Morara, that Morara also hit the ground. Then we bring in a person like the low set of Kenya president. We look at people like Eric Omondi, these other girls called Anifa. These people have taken on the ground. The ground is accepting them. They are easily resonate with the younger generation. So it will be my appeal to our elder here, Senator from Busia, Senator Omtata, to look for them. As much as we want to devolve ourselves going back to the ground, these people already, the young people are listening to them. Boniface Mwangi, people are listening to them. If we incorporate these people and bring them on board, be able to move forward the way the Chikukus were doing until Moi was trembling, so that when we are going to an election, the enemy knows that the young people are coming, and in whatever town they are appearing, they'll be knowing now it's gone. I've seen an example yesterday. I was watching the news and TV when an MP from Mbere tried to disrupt Morara in Embu. People had to chase him away, and this is the way to go. So my appeal is for Senator Okiya Omtata to look for these young people, bring them together. And I'm repeating, Eric Omondi, Boniface Mwangi, and Morara. We can see what they are doing already. The ground is accepting them everywhere. They are being accepted. Bringing them on board, because if we have Eric running on the other side and Morara is having on the other side, we divide ourselves. Remember, there's one also another person who is salivating on the way, Kalonzo Musyoka. He knows that if he comes in again, he's going to divide again, Peter in Katikati, which you don't want. You want to show him that also is a past, is a gone thing. He has been four governments up to the position of being a vice president. So he's there to spoil for us in the coming elections. So when you're able to see that the young people have come together, he'll have no point, he'll have no market to sell himself. So it's upon now Okiya Omtata, who has the space, he has been in the streets with us, who knows where to get these young people and mobilize them together so that we move. You can see he's putting his bloggers on the road to start to disrupt us when we are going forward. So kindly, our team, let us all unite and get each other's back. If we need, even if it's a contribution we have to make, we make a contribution that is of the much importance that people can feel, so that we don't run dry in our movement, because we have to go to the most place in Turkana and tell them, guys, oil is here, we are buying oil expensive. The person who came here to drill the oil is being asked for corruption. He has to pay for some corruption. That's why we don't have oil in the Republic of Kenya. We are unable to export, and now we are buying. So let us try and figure out on a way of onboarding these guys and start hitting the road running. That's the point I had tonight.
No, thank you very much, Dr. Ari. First of all, just for the record, Senator Omtata's office has hosted Morara. We've had meetings with him, and we have invited him to the NCCPA and asked him that we need to work together. We, of course, you must be knowing that we are already working with Comrade Kasmuel, Mercy Tarus. We have had several conversations with Anif and Boniface Mwangi. And the idea is that NCCPA wants to join all the progressive forces to defeat this illegitimate and corrupt regime.
but
So Dennis,
a minute, you can see people having.
Comrade Booker, maybe before you pass the mic to Dennis, there's
Erastus,
this
I think you're breaking.
Yes,
there's this
I was saying
training
something.
at
You see, already
Booker.
you can see people like.
I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, Booker. I hope you can hear me.
We still can't get you, comrade.
Okay, this is Mudiora Kariara back again, and I was just
Erastus,
mentioning.
I think you have dropped. So
Yeah,
I
Booker.
can see there are 3 more hands up.
Booker, Comrade Booker, are you able to hear
So we
us?
go to Dennis. We'll come back to Erastus.
Maybe you drop out and log in.
Comrade Booker, in case you can hear me, I just wanted to let you know that Senator
Is there
Okiya
anyone who can
Omtata.
hear me?
Yes, we can
Mudiora,
hear
can you
you,
hear me?
Booker. Yes, we can hear you. The question is, can you hear us? Okay, just pause for a second. I was saying that
Okay.
Senator Okiya Omtata is here and he would like to talk about the training program he's conducting here where we hold our meetings. So let's just give him a couple of minutes. He won't be long so that Kenyans can know what programs are currently going on and what is in store. Senator, Karibu.
Yes, asante sana, comrades. Yeah, and we have small space here where we conduct what we call the Institute of Politics, Public Policy, and Governance. And we are trying to have some form of sensitization because we realize that one of the biggest problems we have that's enabling us to be oppressed is the ignorance of the Constitution and other laws. A popular version, so we're trying to have some popular engagement and to show how that disregard for the law is directly tied to the problems we have. So, like last week, we did a budget process. We were going through chapter 12 and looking at the institutions and looking at how they have been implemented, how they have been rolled out in law, and also how Parliament and other bodies, other organs have implemented or abused those provisions. And we're able to show that the massive looting of assets are largely tied to the ignorance of those institutions. We have even bodies like the Auditor General, the Control of Budget, also seem to be groping in the dark. Parliament itself definitely does not know what it is doing when it comes to budget making. And so we have gone through that. We're also tackling chapter 12 on elections. Also of interest to us is chapter 6. And then we have got chapter 4 on human rights and in the Bill of Rights. And then we have got chapter 6 on leadership and integrity. So we run this institute and we get various experts to discuss something, an area of it. Among the issues, the last issue we discussed last week was the question of the Sovereign Wealth Fund. And I think it's Article 201, Clause C, where we are also securing the future. With whatever we do, we have got eyes on the future. So we're looking at how can we set up a sovereign wealth fund and be able to be saving something as we go along. We discussed the questions of separating the treasury from the political arm, which is the Ministry of Finance, so that the treasury can operate largely as a bank, almost like a bank or a Federal Reserve, and then be totally insulated from the politics of the day and just be able to operate on the basis of the appropriations by Parliament and the approvals by the control of budget. So there are a lot of things that go on in this space, and underpinning our discussions is the word republic in the name of this country, where we find that being a republic means we are a government of law. And so, quoting the words of Benjamin Franklin, when they had just given themselves the constitution and was asked, what kind of government have you given us? Is it a monarchy or a republic? And he deliberately answered that a republic, if you can keep it, So our republic must be kept. We forgo we are somewhere how we lost it, but we want to go back and keep the republic that we gave ourselves at independence. We also want to keep the republic that we remembered and gave ourselves in 2010 when we enacted the new constitution. And so the broken members, the broken parts of the republic are what we want to put together by trying to give people some information. If we look at the question of public debt, we're able to deconstruct it here, and people are just shaking their heads, seeing how robbery just happens in broad daylight in the name of development and stuff. So we hope to take these trainings down to the street and begin doing a country tour, where we shall have the town hall meetings and get people to be informed so that they can see exactly why it is important to elect people with integrity, why it's important to understand what the law expects of us and be able to stand for it, and why it's important to keep the republic. Like Benjamin Franklin said so many years ago, close to 400 years ago, a republic if we can keep it. And Kenya is a republic that we must keep by being vigilant, by doing the right thing, by ensuring that nothing but the law dominates the political space. Those few remarks, I hand you back to Muthiora, my brother.
Oh, thank you very much, Senator. Mmeambiwa kwamba Kenya ni jamhuri, if we can keep it. And we are here today in this space because we believe we can. So shall we? Bondo, as we wait for Buka to run the program yet again, if you're ready, carry on.
Thank you, Muthiora. Thank you, Okiya Omtata. First of all, I just want to congratulate Okiya Omtata, Senator, for what he's doing for this country of Kenya. I knew him since I was a small boy. He's always fighting in the streets for the rights of the minority, and he's a good Democrat. What I just wanted to say is that we should make sure that the government does not apply the divide and rule tactic against us, because I've seen like some of our leaders in the Gen Z movement. It's like the government is using some people to show that there's a rift between our leaders, and that's something which we should really fight against, because if we are divided, we will not achieve our common goal. So let's keep united. Let's remain focused as we look for a better Kenya. Kenya is our country. Kenya is our home. This is the time, the Gen Z. This is the time to make Kenya bright for everybody. This is the time to call for political accountability and responsibility for our actions. Yeah, this is something good. We are maximizing the use of technology to make sure that we reach to everybody. And Senator Okiya Omtata, once again, thank you. Let's keep on doing this thing, even if it's every weekend. And by that, we shall keep the government under pressure. We shall keep it like checks and balances for a better Kenya. A better Kenya where a small boy from the village, his voice will be heard by everybody. Yeah. And that by that we shall feel represented. Yeah. As you're aware that elections are not too far away, and the earlier the better. We need a leader. We can't keep on being leaderless all the times. Even animals have their own leaders. We have the lion is the king of the jungle. So we need leaders. We need people to represent
Hello,
us. And
how are
I
you
hope the
guys?
people we shall select they won't change. Yes. Yes. Can you hear me, Mudaira?
Dr.
Hello,
Nyabuti, please
unanipata
mute your mic. We'll come to you in a
guys?
bit.
How are you? I want
Yeah,
to
we
thank
can hear
you,
you, Dr.
the
Nyabuti.
Okiya
Just hang on for a bit. We'll give you the mic in a
Omtata
bit.
for hosting me.
Yes. Can I carry on, Mutiara?
I actually represent public service in youths, which are around 30,000. We have been protesting public, and there's a lot of corruption in public service commission. Even the CS, former CS Moses Kuria, said, and all over the internship for 12 months. He does not have money to bribe a commission of around 500,000,
It
and
appears that Dr.
then they're dumped
Nyabuti
out
has a network
after
connection
12 months.
problem, so we'll
This
just drop
was one
him
when
and then bring him up
public solution.
later.
They give you
Bondo, I'm sure you can hear me. Please come on for a bit.
months they don't give you a job because.
Can I carry on?
Yes, Bondo, please.
Okay, thank you. As I was saying, we need leaders of good morals and of integrity. We can't stay all leaderless. We need to synchronize the guys we have, Kina Morara, Kina Mercy Taruz, Eric Omondi, and our center here. Those are the guys who have been in the forefront. Why should we not make them our leaders? They have been visible all around. Yeah, those are the guys who should lead us. Maybe when the right time comes, we shall look at the prime leader. But as for now, I think they shall lead us, and we shall scrutinize their behaviors. What I know, like a person like Okiya Omtata, this guy has been a perennial fighter for the Kenyan, and we have not recognized him for quite some time. I think that is like our goat in terms of Kenyan politics, because this guy has been fighting all around, all time, every time, year in, year out, every electioneering period. Yes, is like an asset and a blessing to the people of Kenya. So, Okiya Omtata, use your wisdom. You are not a Gen Z, but we need you in this. Use your wisdom, guide us. You are our savior. We need your wisdom as we soldier on fighting for a better Kenya. Because at the end of the day, we have our country to protect, and by that there will be equality, social equality, and political accountability. Thank you, Mutiora.
Comrade Booker, please carry on. Well, it appears Booker has taken a break, so we'll carry on. Western, you are ready to speak, and I'll hand the mic to you if you're ready. After Western, we'll go to Jema, and then hopefully by then Booker will have come back. So, Western, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Muthiora, so much for the chance. Thank you, Okiya, a patriot par excellence. Kudos for the good work you're doing for the people of Kenya. Keep it up. Greetings to fellow compatriots on this platform. My take is that the problems that we've been talking about ad nauseum can only be resolved through system change as opposed to regime change. Booker was talking about Kenya's political economy. And to realize Kenya, the response to popular aspirations and needs, you have to change the base and the superstructure of our economy and our politics. If we don't, we go to elections, we get very, very same people, much as they may promise us heaven while they're on the campaign trail. Let me give you an example, which is like a dress rehearsal towards elections, wherever they will be held. Justice Mugambi's ruling that Muthiora you mentioned, and you said that's good news. I'm not sure it's good news. It's actually bad news. You sit, you expect an accused person to appear before you. They don't do it 6 times. You pass a sentence, 6 months in jail. Intimidation starts. Suddenly your security has been withdrawn. This accused person goes to the Court of Appeal. the Court of Appeal does not stay the sentence, which means the accused must report to jail, to the nearest jail. No. Suddenly, the accused person wants to apologize. I'm not so sure whether that was a personal issue to Justice Mugambi. That was a violation of the law, the Constitution. Well, the justice comes back to court, quashes the sentence that he had made. And this accused person apologizes. The Attorney General appears, speaks in the defense of this accused person. Before Kenyans realize what's going on, this individual walks free. That's a dress rehearsal. A dress rehearsal vis-a-vis what could happen with regard to 2027 elections. That the rule of law will not hold. That the institutions that are supposed to undergird credible elections will not be robust enough to secure the will of the people of Kenya, and the merchants of impunity will stay put and wait for the chips to fall where they may. That is the risk that the political party route faces. You have to see what's happening now. Secondly, Sri Lanka has just had elections as we speak now, and they've elected somebody who is left-wing. A left-wing political operative is one who favors state intervention as far as the economy is concerned for the benefit of the masses of the people. The realization is that if you leave the market forces to take charge, poor people will suffer and fall into the cracks as far as education is concerned, healthcare is concerned, food security, the things we talk about in Kenya. So he's been elected. And Sri Lanka has been liberalized since late 70s. And the problems, you saw the protest into the presidential palace. We have been liberalized for the longest time. And that's why we've got these problems. So it tells you that they would not have had these elections under the previous regime by those two brothers. And this particular candidate would not have won if those elections had been organized by those two brothers who were bundled out of power when they poured onto the streets. So I am of the view that it's a little bit naive to underestimate the capacity of the forces that we are ranged against, that we may play by their rules and somehow defeat them. That would be a first one in the world. We would be out to score a first one to make history. And if it was to happen, it would be extremely epic. If you see now, there is what is called elite functionalism. The ruling elite has ruptured. It's official. The deputy president is saying uncharitable things about the president, including addressing him on a first name basis. There's no love lost between the two. What impact does that have on us as people who are desirous of change and fundamental change as far as the base and superstructure of Kenya's political economy is concerned? We, taking the political party route, will be forced to respond to the perennial, primordial, and retrogressive question of identity. Because if they make good their threat, the William route of faction, and impeaches Rigathi Gachagua, you can be sure ethnic sentiment as far as his support base is concerned will rise to a crescendo. And we will be forced to respond to that question, which we have said, no, that's not a question we will be forced to respond to that question going forward into next elections. If we were to extirpate this regime fully and change the base and superstructure of the country, that question would not have arisen. We would not have been faced by that question, but we will be forced to respond to that question. And why? It's not a new question. If you go into Kenya's history, Jaramogi fell out with Kenyatta won. who helped in propelling into power. Moi fell out with the likes of Charles Njonjo, who helped him into ascending to power. Mwai Kibaki fell out with Raila Odinga, helped him ascend to power. William Ruto fell out with Uhuru Kenyatta or Kenyatta too, instrumental in helping Kenyatta too ascend to power. Now, Rigathi has fallen out with William Ruto. 2027 elections, whoever gets elected, even if it's a Gen Z, will most likely fall out with whoever his deputy is. Why? Because it's not a personal issue, it's a rotten system. People fighting over spoils, rent-seeking opportunities, opportunities to plunder, and privatization and informalization of the state. That's why these people are falling out and receding into ethnic enclaves, because they don't know how to prioritize national issues and issues affecting the people of Kenya. So it is ODM reloaded for those who are oblivious of Kenya's elections and their history. This is ODM reloaded. The only person who is missing is Najib Balala, and he's been replaced by the former Mombasa governor, what's his name? Joe Hassan Joho. And the late Joe Nyaga, who was part of that Pentagon thing, is likely to be replaced, if they make good their threat, by Kithure Kindiki. ODM reloaded. In the run-up to 2007 elections, they have moved full circle, and they believe that this retrogressive primordial ethnic card will deliver them the presidency come 2027. So we must respond to that question. When we take the political party route, we cannot evade it. We cannot sweep it under the carpet. We cannot pretend it's not there, because their greatest threat was this pan-ethnic youth mobilization. They could not fracture that. They couldn't. That one, they had no answer. But when we go into politics, political party mobilization, registration of political parties, participating in elections, we go into the constitutional court and courts and what have you, and they believe quite strongly that they can control those institutions and prevail. That's my.
Western Shilago.
Yes.
I know you have so much to
I've landed,
offer,
Mudiora.
and
I've landed.
I would just like to advise that NCCPA holds these spaces every Sunday, and we'll have the next one next week.
Yes.
So kindly take the next 30 minutes to land your point, and then we'll go to Dennis. Buka, I hope you sorted out the technical challenges you are experiencing. So we have just a couple of minutes to wind up. We'd like to finish by 10. So if you have input and maybe you do not get an opportunity, drop us a message. Tomorrow, we have the usual collective meeting that happens every Monday. It's usually a physical meeting at Taj Tower. We'll be deliberating on whatever feedback we've received today. So feel free to leave that in the comment section.
Thank you, Mudiora. Thank you so much. So my parting shot is that normal politics, which entails organizing elections, campaigns, mobilizing people, registration of people, only delivers the will of the masses where institutions and the rule of law hold. Thank you.
Dennis, you've been waiting. If you're ready, please carry on. Buka, naona bado huja unmute mic yako. Dennis, tafadhali dakika yako moja, zisiwe mbili. Endelea. Dennis, your mic seems to be muted. Could you unmute your mic and then make your point? Dennis, tuko kwako. Well, seems we are having a challenge with Dennis as well. As he sorts that out, Jaima, you've been waiting a long time. Tunakuja kwako sasa hivi, kama uko tayari, unmute and land your point. Tafadhali, Jaima, carry on.
Yes, thank you, Okiya, Omtata, Theoro, for the group that you have created to give us way forward for the Kenya. I want to confirm to the whole country that since Genz took over June, we have likely to see the change. The demand were hard. And what we can see very well that the government fake us, however. The government thought that what we needed as Genz is the bringing of opposition into power. And this thing has been the system of controlling the country, Kenya. So what are we doing in this X is to find way forward. How can we find way forward without identifying the problem in the country? As my previous speakers have said, primary enemy of the people of Kenya is first, I can say that political betrayal. The country has experienced a lot of political betrayal. Many times when we approach election, we find that we have perennial fighters. We have people. You can agree with me that before 2022 election, everybody thought that William Ruto is going to change the country. Even us who are here, we believe that William Ruto was to change the country. We saw him as a perennial fighter. But what happened after the election? We have seen tribalic betrayal, political betrayal. He has betrayed the people. And this has been the cause of political instability in the country since independence. Another primary enemy of the people is tribalism. One of the speakers talk about the motion of impeachment. And I will agree with him that after the impeachment, all the people allied to him, including section, or if not all Mount Kenya, will come together and support their man. This thing is ever happening in the country. We are all calling our son, our daughter, whether the person do a mistake or innocent, we don't care. What we care is our son, our daughter. Another problem of enemy of the people that we must tackle is ignorance. Many Kenyans are ignorant, especially when it's come to election. Many Kenya ignore the election procedures. Today I will talk bad. Today I will experience bad governance. But 2 months to election, you give me 50 bob, I forget everything. So we must first identify these problems. As one of the speakers talked about billionaires class, which has been part of the system of controlling the Kenyan's governance. We must look at the ways of identify these problems and solutions on how to tackle them. When we identify them is when we will come to changing the country. Yes, we have identified the problem. How are we going to change the country? How are we going to tackle these problems? First is educating the electorate on why should we change the country? How are we going to change it? And who is going to change it? We have to educate electorate on electoral matters, not only how to elect, but also who to elect. Changing the system of government. Government has been there. even before all of us were born. And the system is there. Even now we can talk, you can say, let's elect Jaima to be president. But when I go there, you will start questioning Jaima. Why? Because of the system we have there. So we must identify this system of the governance, and then we see a way of changing it. In this system is where we will find corruption. In this system is where we will find fake promises. In this government, it is where we will come and fight betrayal, political betrayal, divide and rule, lack of integrity. So as we move on, I want to urge all of us that as much as we are dedicated to change the country, as much as we are focused to change the country, let us identify the most enemy of the people of Kenya. Thank you and be blessed.
Yeah, thanks, Comrade Mudiora, for adding me back. I had some technical hitches, but I have been able to listen through for the powerful contribution that have been made by not just Comrade Okiya Omtata and yourself, but also the respective participants of the NCCPA, which were Kenya today. I know time is moving very fast, but I could probably pass around the mic to help us identify the primary enemy, which in our own analysis, of course, is a small clique of billionaire class represented by William Samoei Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga in the opposition that will want to take us back to the dark old days of tribal mobilization, ethnic, hegemony, and politics of personality cult. These are the enemies that we must continue to fight through. I could probably give a mic to, if you just need the mic, kindly raise your hand. Or if not, then thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Abu. Okay, so we have a few people. Those people who have spoken kindly drop from the speakers list so we are able to admit more people that are waiting. So Dennis, please have the mic.
Thank you very much, Booker, and good evening. Kindly confirm you can hear me.
Good evening.
Good.
I can hear you very well.
Good. Thanks, NCCPA and Comrade Okiya for hosting this and finding to ask which way Kenya, because the political temperatures in the country have really gone up. And I just want to start by giving my remarks by answering earlier. There was a speaker, Vincent, who had asked, he had a question, and the question was if Okiya Omtata would work with Morara. And I just want to say, let us not jump the gun. At this point, let us not talk about any positions. We just need to continue doing civic education. That's all we need to do right now. We need to go to the mashinani with civic education. We need to find ways of communicating and passing these messages in whatever way, in every language. This is the only way we are going to deal with what an earlier speaker spoke about and said about ignorance. And civic education does not just stop at the ballot. Civic education is not just the voting process. Civic education, where largely has an impact on how you make your decision at the ballot, is actually how government works. And it is very important for us to communicate to the people how government works. There is a lot of misinformation out here. I am from Nakuru County, and we host weekly Nakuru County spaces every Friday at 8 p.m. and we discuss issues in Nakuru County. Basically, we do oversight of a leadership of Nakuru County, both at the county level and the members of parliament. And what we've realized is that there's a lot of misinformation. A lot of people don't understand how government works, and this also helps politicians take advantage of our ignorance. And as we do this, we have tools. We have tools that are before us. These are public tools. For example, we have the report of the Controller of Budget. We have the Office of the Auditor General, and they have reports. And these reports are very important. And it's very easy to explain to the people of the kind of projects that their leaders are doing, maybe governors or members of parliament through the NGCDF. And you can actually do audit. And this is where now the content is. It's very easy to do civic education. Just use these reports, go to the ground and refer, compare. For example, if they are saying they built a hospital for 7 million shillings, go to that hospital, take videos, take pictures, ingia ndani, find out, is it well equipped? Does it have healthcare workers? What are the conditions? Are they being paid? Give us that information. That is just how one of the ways of doing civic education to the grassroots level in even mother tongue. And in Nakuru, that's what we are doing. We have people who are local influencers, and we are working with them. They also translate some of these videos, and that's how we are doing it. And I just want to encourage everyone to do this, because that is just what we need to do for us to deal with the political elite, the political class, who have now assembled in groups of ethnic groups, because they are worried, because they don't have any strategy. They know that for once there is an awakening amongst Kenyans. And the Kenyans who voted in 2022, Kenyans who voted in 2017 are not the same Kenyans who will vote in 2027. We have had a shift in our mindset, and the events of June 25th have totally changed this country already. So we are already winning this thing. And I just want to encourage all of you to continue doing this. As I finish up, I just want to answer a question by Buka. You had talked about political, how do we do the political civic education? And I think it's not so hard for you to just be able to have a structure around this. Break it down to counties, then under counties, you can break it down to sub-counties or constituencies, up to the ward level, up to the village level if you need. That is the best way you're going to pass it. Remember, politicians are going to come back to us. You see all this drama you're seeing with the deputy president, Lima, sijui nini, impeachment, or you are going to see the levels of tribalism are going to be. I'm talking about this because I'm a victim of post-election violence, and that is why I am in Nakuru now. So I understand, and I know the drums of war have started beating, and we know what usually happens. Let me tell you, we don't have to choose a side. We don't have to talk about this. We have to just inform the people ya kwamba all this is just for mere entertainment. All these guys are going home. We don't have a primary enemy. We don't have a primary enemy. Every one of them is our enemy. And that's why we are saying we should drain the swamp. The problem with Kenya is not just about leaders. We have problems that are institutionalized. We have started learning that there's a lot of budgeted corruption that happens in this country. It's very hard for you to fight budgeted corruption unless we change everyone from the ground to the top. That is how we'll be able to bring this change to the institutions and bring the changes that earlier Comrade Okiya Omtata was talking about. Because let me tell you, the biggest problem we have today, like someone said, is the police. I know the police are also a very big problem. I agree with you. But the biggest problem we have is our members of parliament. That house is the most useless house. That house, if the people in those houses knew what they're supposed to do, they'll be able to kick out William Ruto if William Ruto is a problem. So it is not a singular problem. We are draining the whole swamp. So let me just encourage all of you to keep pushing, keep doing this. And like Gekonyo and the other one said, we need to get angry enough. I'm from Nakuru County. We use also in local influencer, like I said, and we have an artist, a local artist, and I'm sure you know him. It's called Willie Oeba. He goes around doing civic education in matatus. He's from Nakuru County, and he says, lazima asira ipande ndio zakayo ashuke. So we must get angry. And the only way to make Kenyans angry is by opening their eyes through civic education mashinani. That should be the only way to get Kenyans out of this. We will sort out the issue of IBC with time. But as we sort out the issue of IBC, tuendelee kuelimisha watu. Let me tell you, Kenya's problem ni kwamba wapiga kura si werevu. Lakini siku ile wapiga kura watakuwa werevu, shida zetu zote tutatatua. And if we don't get this right in 2027, we are doomed. The future of our children is gone. So we have to get this right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dennis. Dennis, when we talk of the primary enemy, we are not just talking about a person. We are not just talking about William Samoei Ruto. We are talking about the entire political class, the corrupt political class that is being represented by William Samoei Ruto. And we are not even sparing his newfound friend, Raila Amolo Odinga, which is the head of the opposition, that these people are the rot of this country, that we must deal with them. You know, we have to remove them from those political offices, break the system, which is the neocolonial system, and construct a Kenyan project from a new slate. That is what we are advancing in this this debate. That if your MP even had voted yes or no, if he's an MP that listens to the Kenyan people, let them start a process that will ensure that President William Samoei Ruto and the whole Kenya Kwanza government falls. Then we can say that they have started a process. But if they voted yes or no, but they're still complacent with over 60 bodies dead on the streets, then they are still the true enemies of the Kenyan people. I will give the mic to Anthony, and then I think I have two hands up. And Anthony.
Asante sana host Okiya Omtata, co-host Muthiora pamoja na Buka. Kwanza nawapongeza sana kwa kazi muhimu ambayo mumefanya kama muungano ya NCCPA mpaka wa leo. Ni muhimu kabisa, na mmeongea hapo mbeleni ya kwamba chama ndio chombo cha kunyakua utawala. Aidha iwe ni chama ama iwe muungano, lakini ni cha muhimu. Kwa hivyo kuanzilisha hii NCCPA ni jambo muhimu kabisa. Lakini nitataka kutajia maneno mawili tu ambayo wengi ambao wametangulia hapo wameongea kwa uzuri sana kwa sehemu zile za umuhimu. Mkiweza kukumbuka vituko vya tarehe 25 Juni mwaka huu, wakati vijana waliingia wakakomboa bunge la nchi, kitu gani kabisa kilisababisha hiyo kituko? Ilikuwa ni jambo moja tu, ya kwamba wajumbe walikataa kusikia sauti ya wananchi. Hiyo ndio ilisababisha hiyo mambo zote ambazo zilitokea. Kwa hivyo lazima tuweke kwa manani, hii kukataa kusikia sauti ya wananchi inamaanisha nini? Ni kusema ya kwamba public participation, ambayo ndio mageuzi makubwa kabisa katika katiba ya 2010, haijawekewa uzito ambayo inastahili. Na lazima tufanye kwa uzito ili kuheshimu wale vijana ambao kuhusu umuhimu ya kuwa na viongozi. lazima tuwe na paradigm shift wakati tunataja jina kiongozi. Kwa Mkenya yeyote, kiongozi ni hawa mababe wa vyama vikubwa vikubwa. Tunajua kwamba kiongozi mmoja pengine atakuwa ni kiongozi wa ODM, au atakuwa ni kiongozi wa Wiper, au atakuwa kiongozi wa Ford Kenya. Hao ndio wananchi wanajua wa kwamba ni viongozi. Tukiteremka chini, wakati tunachagua wajumbe wetu, hawa ni representatives, na inatakikana tuwe na shift tukitaja wajumbe wetu. Mara nyingi tuseme ya kwamba tunatafuta kuwa watumishi wa wananchi katika bunge la Kenya. Na wakati tunaanza hii mchakato ya kutafuta njia mpya, jina la kiongozi ambayo ni mtu anapigiwa saluti inatakikana tuiweke kando. Kitu ambayo tunajua ni ukishakuwa kiongozi unataka mshahara ile inafika karibu shilingi milioni 1. Unataka gari ya karibu shilingi milioni 10. Unataka riba ya health ambao unaenda kudumia. Hello? Unanisikiza?
Yes, comrade. I'm just saying you wind up.
Yes, nilikuwa naenda kumaliza. Kwa hivyo kitu ambacho nasema ni hiyo paradigm ya kwamba tunatafuta viongozi wa chama, tuibadilishe kabisa, tuseme tunataka watumishi wa wananchi. Sisi kama wananchi ndio tutasema tunataka kipi, na watumishi wajumbe wetu watafanya vile tunavyotaka. Asante sana kwa kunipatia muda huo kuchangia mjadala wa leo.
Mudira, my co-host, just out of interest, do you want us to extend this space with 1 hour or so? Because I can see there are so many requests remaining, and also there are other comrades that haven't spoken.
Well, Buka, acha turuhusu ambao wame request waanguke nayo, twende mpaka 10:30. Okiya Omtata has no problem with us extending for just a bit more to be inclusive of all those who would like to make their opinions heard, known and recorded. So carry on. Let's do this till 10:30. And just to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, we have a reporting meeting tomorrow at Taj Tower. We do this every Monday starting from 2 p.m. And so far, we've managed to bring together the collective.
Is anybody speaking?
Yes, Comrade Buka,
Can't
I'm
hear
on.
anything. Kindly.
Well, I'm on, Comrade Buka. I can see perhaps you're not able to hear me.
No,
I
I
was
can
just
hear you,
informing those
Mudira.
who
I can hear you very well. Don't you worry. That was another comrade
Okay.
called Bondo.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So I was just letting those who are in this space today know that we've been doing these each
We can't
of the
hear.
organizations.
Kindly. Or you can pass the mic to somebody else, because we have so many speakers.
Bondo, I have removed you from the speaker because looks like you're not hearing anyone, but the rest are speaking.
Okay, Comrade Buka, if you can hear me, I'll just finish this thought that I was trying to land, and that is with regard to how we've been organizing. Tomorrow, we'll be doing our 11th gathering of representatives from the organizations that constitute the National Coordination Committee of the People's Assemblies. You can imagine what an arduous task that has been, and yet we haven't even started to imagine that we can tire. So ask those who are organizing wherever you are to link up with us so we can do this collectively. Now, about the X Space, this we've been doing every Sunday, and Kasmuel Makoure, who is the spokesperson of the NCCPA, as charged so by the collective, has been hosting this, and he was supposed to be here today. He will be here maybe in the next one. So We have a space for everyone. We would like you to reach out, but even as we look to conclude this, please feel free. This is a
And Mohammed, we wind up this debate.
The host and Okiya Omtata and Buki and everyone. Asanteni kunipa hii privilege. First of all, those things which are in my thoughts are concerning the structures and the meetings.
Modera, can you hear Abu?
yes, Comrade Buka. Abu is loud and clear.
Okay.
So sorry if you can't hear me. First of all, I want to thank Dennis. He landed a lot of points which were in my thoughts. This phase of our campaign, we should focus mostly on civil education, make people understand their rights and everything. And second thing which I wanted to is do you have your minutes? Which platform, guys, are you using, and how can we get access to the platforms, access to the minutes, if possible? And second is we should continue coordinating with other, even those who are in diaspora, so we can have more coordination together. So that's another point. Last one which I wanted to say is concerning the whole of regions of Kenya, which parts are still not yet been contacted for more civil educations, and other parts, maybe northeastern, Isiolo or Garissa or plans for those regions. I appreciate for the privilege, and please, if you can get the minutes, that would be fantastic. And God bless. And Okiya Omtata, keep the good fight, as the civil rights groups used to say. Asanteni sana kunipa hiyo nafasi ya kushare my thoughts. Asante sana.
Karibu sana Mohammed. Let's go to Mohammed. Now the other Mohammed, and then we go to Chief Economist, and then Toria.
Yeah, thank you, Buka. I just wanted to talk about the CPA programs. Actually, I'm in the diaspora. If we can coordinate our efforts so that we also join and take part. This time slot is actually good for us when it's evening. But if it's actually physical location in Nairobi, it's going to be difficult. So if it's going to be spaces, please, the senator should actually publish the spaces well in advance so that we can also join and participate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. The space will always be every Sunday from 7 p.m. Every Sunday from 7 p.m. the NCCPA will hold the spaces. The physical meeting is every Monday from 2 p.m. And also, you can inbox us, and when we are organizing a meeting, an online meeting with the diaspora, we can loop you in.
Sure, Buka. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay. Sure. So, Chief Economist and then Toria.
Hi everyone. I'm really having a problem with I think my audio. I don't know if you can hear me, Buka.
Yes, I can hear you very well, comrade.
Thank you. So much has been talked about, and I wouldn't really want to take us back there, but I needed to just clarify on some points, and maybe first of all take you back to how our politics has been evolving to the point we are. And I personally believe that the political development so far, pre and post-colonial eras, I think that's where we missed the political maturity. And most of you have been asking, who is our biggest enemy? And I can tell you, as much as we see the government as the biggest enemy, remember this government has been put in place there by the citizens. Therefore, on my end, I believe that our biggest enemy and something that we should be looking at and dealing with is our own selves. How did this person
Chief Economist,
reach to the point that
Chief
they
Economist,
are in the city?
Chief Economist, just without interrupting, the narrative of blaming the Kenyan voter, maybe I ask you indirectly, because it's a question that have been pushed through by political class in this country, where, Chief, you came to me and you promised me with your own mouth, I voted you. You go against the very promises that you told me you are going to do. How is it that I'm I am the problem? Remember, President William Samoei Ruto toured this country and sold us a lie. And majority of the Kenyan people trusted him that he will deliver. Now, when he's failing, how is it possible that the ordinary Kenyan people can be the problem? So, on the social sciences, we vote people based on a social contract. You come and tell me, Chief, come on, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. I give you a chance. In fact, there was even another narrative that the people who voted President William Samoei Ruto should not hold him accountable because they fell for that lie. This was being driven by majorly the people who thought that if we did not vote Raila Amolo Odinga, then we don't have a right to hold William Samoei Ruto as the president responsible for his lies. I think the people who voted the president should be the most hungry. They should be the most angry at him. So I'm just bringing that as you continue to say that the citizens are their own enemies, also, please also help us to understand that if I promise you that, Chief, I will give you this tomorrow, and based on my promise, you give me a position. If I betray you, I can't be the problem. Chief, sorry.
Thank you, Buka, for bringing that up. I think I'm asking a question, and at the same time, yes, okay. I'm asking a question, and at the same time, I'm sort of looking at it from a different perspective. And something that you've said that the people basically they are not the problem. I understand that fact, but I'll take you back to the moment these social contracts are being created between us, the people, and the leaders, there is always a history. And let me tell you, politicians, and I'm not talking about leaders, we've seen leaders like Okiya, Omtata, people who have a stand and people who stand with the people. I'm talking about politicians. Politicians will always make you and promise you things in future. And by that, you sort of blind yourself, you blindfold yourself not to see the past. And the person we have right now in power is someone who has been even convicted and taken to the ICC. This is a person who was involved in the maize scandal. What do we as people, what do we really expect different from these people, even if they give us their manifestos? I also want to take you back to the fact about manifestos. Which government has ever made their manifesto a reality? Has ever made their promises a reality? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we always find ourselves in the same situation. We think this person is the savior, but it ends up being the same crooked people that we take in power. And what we need to do is whatever is happening right now, we need to have civic education. We need people to understand that whatever this person is telling you, anataka mpatie kura, afike pale, arudi to his default settings. We've also seen politicians sort of supporting our movement, even from the opposition. And the moment they are in government, they change like a chameleon. You look at Caleb Amisi and you see the things that that guy is talking about right now, and you wonder, is this the same Caleb Amisi before June 25th? How do we solve that problem? Probably I might not come out very, very well, but I think civic education, we need to educate our people. How many people know about our constitution? How many people own a constitution? The document itself. How many people understand that it's not your role to fight poverty? It's the role of the government to fight poverty. You can't have an employer or sort of someone who is supposed to do a certain duty and take care of the nation, take care of our boundaries, and still leave some parts for you to do. It's not your role to fight poverty. It's the role of the government. You are supposed to basically go to any office. You actually have the problem of even choosing between jobs, not being unemployed. It's not your role, because if you go to school, and many people have been doing this, you go to school, you have all these certificates, you can't find a job. That is a failure of the government, and you need the people to understand that. It's not because that you did the wrong course or whatever. If you even did the wrong course, it's still the failure of the government. These are people who we've put there to work to our own needs. And if we need to get it right, we need to have people educated, and people know that whatever you do on the ballot box sort of translates to whatever will happen in the next 5 years. So if we have taken this sort of position of making sure that we educate our people, it's a very, very important step we have done. And we should support each and every person who is doing this. And lastly, maybe Buka, if I can just say one more point.
Yes, Chief.
I have seen most of the people sort of... All right. I've seen a lot of people sort of fighting Morara and talking about Morara is taking this too far. He's going into politics. And I want to remind you one thing. When this movement started, when Occupy Parliament started, it didn't start in June 25th. It started in 2013. The people who started that movement have done their part. And right now, we don't sort of hear a lot from them. The same thing will happen. I'm very, very sure. Because the moment you do your part, the moment you take the movement to the next level, right now we are talking about civic education. Morara is doing it. That is not an end. That is sort of a progress. And the people who will come, even if he sets up a political party, he might even end up not being in the ballot box. So let's not concentrate on what we think will be the end goal. Let's concentrate on how is the movement going. How are we in June 25th? How are we right now? How do we want to be in December? I think that's very, very important. And Buka, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Chief. But just one little comment out of what you've said as well is that we want to build a strong organization. That if an individual gets to betray the cause, then we can hold that individual responsible. So the issue of popular political education is very important, so that anyone, even if it is Morara that becomes the president of this country, and then he go against the collective will of the people, we can hold him squarely responsible. So the NCCPA is to build a collective where people can be answerable to, because we do not really think that an individual, just one individual, for example, Buka or Modiora, or even, chief economist, can save this country. So we have to build an organization. We appreciate the efforts that are being done by each and every Kenyan, and I know we will converge. And those who truly love Kenya will then prosper. But those who, if even Modiora today take political power and comes to this space and lies to us, we must hold him responsible, call him out, and punish him for his mistakes. Toria, please run with it. Toria, you have to unmute your mic, and those people who have spoken, please drop off so that we can be able to make this. I can see Toria, she's not there. What about Kenyan lady? You can take the mic.
Hi, can you hear me? Just give me 100%. Thank you. So there are two things that I really want to highlight, and sometimes sometimes I think we overthink things, and I think it has become it has become the energy that Kenya has taken. Most of us in the movement, it's like we are overthinking things. Even sometimes kitu hakitendeki, but you're still overthinking, and then that thought is picked by somebody else, and before you know it, it is actually an idea that everybody is thinking about. So those people who follow the movement closely, you can see a narrative creeping in. It's picked up by one person, and then another person picks it up, and before you know, within 24 hours, that's the narrative that is ongoing. So I do not know how to fight that, but that's something that we need to watch. So that's just but an FYI. I don't know how that can be dealt with, especially in this era of social media. But mtu anaanza kitu just from the corner of a tree, and then it becomes an issue, and it becomes something that is drawing our energies. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about, which is really my first thing, is let us when we form this movement, when we continue with the movement, let us try our very best to define whose role is where. I know we probably may not be at this point, but we can just try. Like, for instance, tawapatia mfano, sisi wote wenye tuko ugaibuni, we are trying our very best to help the movement, and we have done I cannot start saying like 1 2 3 4 5 things that we have done, but I can say, like, kwa mfano, giving an office, which was done genuinely by people we know from the diaspora, it has become an issue. Why? Because maybe we have not defined the diaspora as an entity in the movement. Do we really need to think about that? Because if we do that, then it would have been easier for us to come in big ways. But if we do these things and you are questioning us, then we are wondering whether we are in the same movement. So that's one thing that I don't know what NCCPA can input. I don't know if somebody has an answer for me right now, but that's something I really need us to probably tutilie manani, because coming in and being questioned, do you know who's that house is, blah blah blah. Sometimes this argument and the discussion of dead capital has come in. Now we have found things to be done in our dead capital, and now you are questioning it. Yeah. So that's one thing. The other thing is, the second item about the civic education. Yes, that's what we need. And I think somebody responded. I think it's Buka that responded to Abu. You cannot question a common Kenyan how they vote if they are, first of all, ignorant. They are not aware, not even being ignorant, but it's because they do not know. They just do not know. So I'm just insisting on the civic education, and coming from my first question or my first input, if we put this thing together, we validate each other. Let's start with civic education, and then we move on like that. Let's define the place for diaspora in the movement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kenyan lady. And yes, we are initiating talks with diaspora under the NCCPA. So feel free to inbox us, and next time we have a meeting with the diaspora, we will make sure that we put you on the loop, because the diaspora is a very integral part of the movement. And so it's important. On the misinformation and false narratives that are being spread, I also want to tell you that we need to have a core team that is able to counter the false narratives and the propaganda that is spread by the enemy. That is what NCCPA is doing. Now we are having only 50 volunteers. But by the moment we are having 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or 30,000 volunteers working on a daily basis to make Kenya a better place, we will be able to confront the disinformation, misinformation, believable lies, narratives, and protect at least our movement, against the enemy's, schemes. So, Toria, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know if I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, mine was just a little bit of my sense, like, we blame so much the system, and as far as we blame the system, we also should blame ourselves, because we, people of Kenya, we believe in unrealistic manifestos which are given to us by these politicians. I think we should also check on virtues, because we blame the system, we rectify the system, but we go ahead and elect crooked, rogue people in the system again. Definitely, the system will
Toria, hold
remain
it
to
there.
be.
Toria, I got a question for you.
Ebo karibia simu, sikusikii fiti.
Nasema niko na swali.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying, if you put poor people, in extreme poverty, and you make
I'm
them
saying
live the
we
life
people.
no, I'm just asking a question. If you put people to live a life of...
We can't hear both of you.
You can't hear both of us. Mudiora, can you hear us? You're the co-host.
No, you're audible from my end, and I was just urging that we land the points home because we are dangerously out of time.
Okay. The question I wanted to ask Toria is, you make people live in abject poverty, where they don't know even where their next meal is going to come from. They have a sick parent. They are constantly living in violence. How is it possible to blame such a person in not making informed choices? Toria.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is that when we are trying to blame the system as well, because we elect these people sometimes out of sympathy, tribalism, or emotions. That's what sometimes it misleads us. If we rectify on that and check on virtues and what we want for our leaders, I think it might rectify, it might help us rectify our system as well, because we don't expect to elect a rogue person and the system to be corrected. And also, when we are doing this, we need to check on the manifestos they are giving us. Like, let them present realistic manifestos that can be achieved within the certain time that they have prescribed or they have told us. That's my thought for now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Toria. I still would like the people who are coming after Toria kindly, because this is a question that for me, I think it's important. When we blame the citizens, while the system has alienated from anything meaningful to live a meaningful life. Because, for example, when somebody is taking 200 shillings from a corrupt politician to get a meal or two, I think the key that we have been talking about here is political education. If we can accelerate and politicize the people, then probably we can rescue and bring out the quality of the vote. Because you're not talking about, in fact, this democracy is just about money. We cannot be run by just a gang of criminals with money that buy their way into power, and then after buying their way, they try to get back their money like in a casino. Now that the slave market ended, they want to get back their money through budgeted corruption. So I think we still need to continue pushing the point of popular political education and making sure that people are conscious that politics indeed means a lot in their daily lives. I don't know if I know how to pronounce your name, but Puroso. Please have the mic. And those people who have spoken, you can drop, and then I will give some.
Piroso seems to be experiencing some technical hitches. So as he sorts that out, maybe we can go to Jelani. Jelani, if you're ready, please carry on as we see what the problem is with Piroso.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Okiya. Thank you, Muthiora. Thank you, Booker. I just have a few comments. Number one, I want to address everybody that, is coming on this platform and trying to blame voters for who they vote for. The system is broken. We are continually offered a choice between bad and worse. It's always two rotten eggs at the top that you have
Did
to
I lose
vote.
Jelani or it's just me?
Jelani is on. She's loud and can be heard.
So I feel bad when people try to blame people who are presented a bad choice from the get-go. We also have a huge majority of Kenyans who are dependent on certain people in their households and typically will vote based on what the person they're dependent on is voting for. So, for example, you have a household, you have a man who is a breadwinner. You find that the wife and the kids, if the kids are voting age, typically will vote for the person that the father is voting for, because nobody wants to be in the house playing opposition against their parents or against whoever pays the bills. So there are so many factors, and it's just, I think people who are very blinded by their privilege, who want to come online and call people stupid and say, oh, you guys are the problem. The system is designed in such a way that even you as a good person, like right now, if a Gen Z is trying to register a political party, it's going to be impossible. They're not going to allow it to happen. Good people are perennially prevented from being on the ballot box, on being on the ballot paper. Perennially, we've seen it. People trying to run and they're prevented. They're not cleared in good time. They're not given the paperwork. It just becomes impossible. Then you have a two-horse race, and the media keeps on reporting on a two-horse race, completely gives a blackout to other smaller people who might be running. You don't even know what those people stand for because the media never covers them. I have been on the trail trying to push smaller politicians, and media houses will not give them coverage unless those people pay the journalists. So if you don't have money to pay the journalist, you know the journalists will never cover you and run your story. So let's stop pretending that Kenyans have had a choice, or even a good choice, if anything. So for me, I think when people speak like that, I get very irritated and annoyed because I know they're speaking from a point of complete ignorance. The number two thing I wanted to comment on is somebody asked a question on what we are going to do about people saying nasty things and pushing narratives and talking and da da da. And let me tell you, you cannot address every single madman in the market. You cannot. You cannot start to be like, oh, there's a section of Twitter that is going to say this about the house that Morara was given. They're also going to say this about Okiya. They're also going to say this about Casmo, Jalani, everybody else. You can't focus on those people. You need to focus on the work you're doing. If the work you're doing is good for Kenya, focus on that. There's people who will see it, who will appreciate it. Of course, if it's something damning, if it's something that needs clarification, you can come by and clarify. But we cannot spend our time responding to every rumor, every madman. If someone comes and says this and this about you, you stop everything you're doing and you address it. No. We can't do that. That's a waste of everybody's time. We have so much work ahead of us, so much civic education, political education, even for ourselves as people on Twitter. Sometimes we think we know and we don't know. You come on these spaces and you learn. People teach you. People tell you, oh, by the way, you know the system is like this. Someone interprets the Constitution, you're like, wow, I did not know that. I did not even know that we have that bill. I didn't know what that bill says. All of us need a form of education. All of us need to learn. And as we learn, we spread the knowledge that we get. And it's so much work to be done because we have to reach 55 million Kenyans. Everybody needs to be on board. If Ruto is not going to be president in 2027, everybody, it's all hands on deck. We're not going to sit back and wait for NCCPA to do all the work. Wait for Casmuel to go to the media. Wait for Hanifa to do her work. Wait for Okiya. All of us need to come together, which now brings me to my final point. There's only two sides of this coin. Either you're for the people of Kenya and for their well-being and for their prosperity, or you're working for the government that is killing and oppressing Kenyans. There's only two sides. So if you are for the people and for the good of the people and for the prosperity of the people, why don't you put aside your bias? Stop attacking the ones who have come forth and dedicated their time, dedicated their resources, dedicated their platforms to this work. Why don't we just support them? Why don't we just say we have Casmuel doing this, we have Okiya doing this, we have Jelani doing this? Why don't we support everyone? And if you feel someone is doing something you don't like, don't go at them with an attacking energy. Oh, you're like this, you're like that. Because to be honest, I don't care what Morana does. I don't care what Okiya does. I don't care what Casmo does.
Jelani, just allow me to jump in. Just repeat those two sides that you just mentioned, and then we will allow Senator Okiya Omtata, who has an early business in court tomorrow, and then later on will be handling the Adani JKIA takeover matter at the Senate, to come through, and then Booker will wrap this for us. As for the other speakers, we sincerely apologize that we were not able to give you all an opportunity. But like we said, we do this every week, and it starts at 7 p.m. So let's carry this conversation forward. We'll be here next Sunday, and on Monday we have our physical meeting. So Jelani, just repeat what two sides we've got, and then Senator will come in and Booker will close. We do that in exactly 3 minutes. Yes,
We only
Jelani.
have two sides to this coin. Either you're for the people, the success and the prosperity of the people and for the good of the people of Kenya, or you're for the government and the people who are oppressing and making Kenya worse. Those are the only two sides of this coin.
Yeah, thank you very much for all that has been shared. I've really enjoyed. It's unfortunate I have to leave because I need to take a nap and prepare for tomorrow. But I think we have it right. We are either for the people or against the people. But the bigger enemy also is the ignorance. We need to educate ourselves. We need to understand what are the tools these people are using to keep us subjected, to keep us subject and not citizens. And the tools are there. We are trying to expose those tools. And let us keep educating each other. As you said, everybody learns. I've learned a lot. And let us keep educating each other. And once we are informed, I think we shall be able to deal with them. And let us remain united because, as they say, when spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion. Let us unite. Let us lead. Let us be led. And let us do whatever it takes to make sure that never again will we be tenants in our own country. Will we be subjects in our own country? Will we not own this country? Let us do whatever it takes to emancipate ourselves and take back what is rightfully ours and make sure that our birthright is not lost on any altar. Our birthright is ours. Kenya is ours. Kenya must be a profitable concern. Kenya must keep its children well nourished. Kenya must have the promise that plenty shall be found within our borders and justice will be our shield and defender. Thank you very much, and may God continue blessing all of us. Good night. For those who are in the same time zone as I am, The others, may you take the greeting of the day. Thank you.
Comrade Booker, please wrap this for us. My name is Mudiora Carriera, former presidential running mate and a volunteer at the NCCPA Secretariat, where we co-work with others, including Kasmuel Makoure and a lot of other revolutionaries. Comrade Booker, please wrap this for us.
Now, my special thanks to each and every person that has come through to this space. We are quite delighted that you got this time to actually contribute ideas. The space was pretty big. We've been able to allocate as much time as we can. And next week, we hope that we can give more time to people to speak more. To Senator Okiya Omtata, we are proud of you. Mudiora, we are proud of you. Wakili Barak, Ashlina Jambo, Mkenya, I've also seen you. Angelani, and every person that was in this space. We only have a job to do to make sure that we can bring all the people, mobilize people of Kenya in their millions who genuinely love this country to start an immediate and the most urgent process, which is the national construction of Kenya, the Kenyan National Project. And that means defeating the enemies of the people. Thank you, and thank you very much. And I wish you a good night. And I will be here next week on Sunday at 7 p.m. with Senator Okiya Omtata, Mudiora, and all the comrades that we are at NCCPA. For the Diaspora team, thank you for the support you always give. Feel part of the NCCPA, and we look forward to even having a tat-a-tat with you in any forum that is of your choice. So we welcome you all to NCCPA. Those people who are coming to the meeting tomorrow, see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. at Okiya Omtata's office. Bye-bye and have a good night.